All right, we are live. Welcome back to Stock Tricks with Nick for this week's midweek movers. We definitely have a lot to cover today, but before we jump into all of that, if you're new to the stream, we do a live stream either Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on how the week works out, where we'll go over kind of how the market's shaping up, a refresh of the watch list that I'm looking at for the rest of the week. And then at the end of this stream, we'll be going over all the stocks that you guys want to see. So drop the stocks in the comments that either you're already in or that you think are setting up to break out within the next week or so. Um, also, for also on this channel, I do a trading recap on Friday where I go over all the stocks I traded, how this watch list did. We also do a breakout watch list on Sunday morning. So I recap how that watch list did and how the whole market did for the week. Yeah, and then Sunday we have that breakout watch list. This year we're starting a new trading challenge called the TikTok Trading Challenge, where all the money that I make on TikTok I put into a Robinhood account, and then I let you guys decide how we invest that based on the stocks that I put out on the breakout watch list on Sunday morning. So the link to that video is in the description below. I'll be giving away the entire account if you guys can outtrade me this year. All right, with that said, let's just jump into it. Lots and lots of headline risk. Maybe in my short trading experience career, whatever, maybe the most headline risk that I've seen in a single day. Not on a magnitude perspective, but just in many different directions. So we had the Georgia runoff. Basically decided this morning, and you saw large tech gap down. Excuse me, large cap tech gap down. Weed stocks were higher, energy stocks were higher, and a lot of the material stocks were higher as well. So actually, when I woke up, all those stocks were pretty much green for me. I had a couple in the red, but nothing gapping down. So everything looked good going into the day. And then as the day progressed, everything continued to work. If you've been following along with the recaps, the last week I got bumped off my account balance high by about 5%. And then on Monday we had another kind of gap down, not gap down, but sell off day for growth stock. So at one point I was about 7.5 to 8% down from my balance high. So that's when I start trading defensively, cutting down on position sizing and moving my stops up to my entry or taking profits a little bit quicker. And Tuesday turned around. We had great kind of return there. A lot of stocks breaking out, holding those breakouts. So into the move today, I was very profitable going into the day or the first couple hours of the day. So I was putting on some new stocks that were going through their pivots that I was looking at yesterday. Those were holding up great. I was about 4% up on the day. And then we got, I forget which came first, but either Washington, D.C. was stormed or we had the news of delisting China stocks. Those were going back and forth for the China stocks. They now are planning to delist 3 of those stocks. So that always brings in a little bit more volatility to the Chinese names. And I had NEO, unfortunately, and had my stop at my entry point, got stopped out of that one. But wanted to touch on basically with all of this news, we didn't see too much action in price and volume compared to what you would expect. So whenever I see headline news or stuff like that, if I'm in a position where I'm overextended, maybe I'm using margin. At this point, I was not using margin. I was maybe 85% invested, but because I was still at one point I was 3% off my equity curve high, so that was going well. But then I started pulling back with everything else kind of pulling back toward middle end of the day. So I did cut a couple positions, but not trying to completely get out of the market because as you saw towards the end of the day, a lot of the stocks found buyers and closed near the high of their days. So at this point, I'm listening to the market. I'm looking at price and volume and not listening to the news, not going on. Well, I went on Twitter, but if you can't go on Twitter and then step to your trading platform and stick to your plan, I would stay off Twitter until the end of the trading day because whatever happens, there's going to be tons of there's going to be tons of news on it, and you never want to build a trading plan around news because that is the most choppy trading plan that you could ever ask for. So I just stuck to my trading rules. Once I got below 5% off my equity curve high, had to start playing a little bit more defensively, took off some positions that I put on, and then moved some stops up to entry. But I was really surprised to see a lot of buyers come in towards the end of the day to pick up stocks that pulled back a little bit. So one thing I always look for when stocks are pulling back is, or the entire market's pulling back, is what stocks are holding up the best, because that's called relative strength. Whatever stocks usually pull back the least, when buyers come in, those extend even higher. So I saw that with X, the US steel that I was in, and a couple other names that we'll go through. But one thing I wanted to point out, and I think we talked about this in a live stream before, but in the book Market Wizards, I'm not sure which trader it was, but they were talking about news-driven events, and they said that when you see something on the news and you have a giant position on, or you have a position on that you're really afraid to check your computer to see how much money you're going to be down, and when you actually go to check, you're not down that much, or even you might even be positive like I was today, that's not a time to panic sell all your positions, because that's showing that the market is seeing the news. Everyone saw the news today of Georgia, Washington, D.C., delisting China stocks. Everyone saw that news, and it got digested, and buyers stepped in. So if that doesn't bring the market down, why would I be taking too much of my exposure off if we can have three giant pieces of news not pull it back? So I was really completely on a stock alone basis, excited to see that buyer stepped in, because that shows me confidence in the market, and that's going to keep me in the market. So did make a couple defensive moves to get around 60% invested from the 85% that I was at some point today. But for the most part, things are still looking good. So I do have a list of stocks that are going to be on my breakout watch list for the rest of the week. And then, like I said earlier, any stocks that you guys want to see, please leave them in the comments below. Quick disclaimer, probably should have said this earlier. Anything that I talk about is my own personal opinion, not financial advice. Trading comes with financial risk. Please do your own due diligence. All right, so here is the stock lineup, and I've been having a ton of, not success, but I've really enjoyed using stock charts now. I got it maybe 2-3 weeks ago, but it allows me to go through so many different charts. So here's the midweek movers watch list that we'll be covering, and you can kind of see the setups that we're going to be talking about that kind of build into possible breakouts, all moving down to the right, down to the right, down to the right, setting up good bases there. So not going to read all these. We'll go over them in a little bit. And then these are the stocks that I got on StockTwits or Twitter to check out. All right, let's jump to the charts. Where is my... Okay, first, and I'm not ignoring your guys' comments. We'll go through that after we get through the watch list here. First, we got ARVN. This one's going to be a high tight flag up 260-ish% through this move. And then from the high here, only down 7%. So still could be pretty early. With these types of names, if it's only down 7% from the high and it hasn't pulled back enough for the 20-day simple moving average, the screen line, to catch up, with these types of setups, ones that are sitting right on the 8-day exponential, this purple line here, I am going to be waiting for a full break of the previous highs here. So that's 86.44. Let's see, 86.53. So 86.53, the high from January 4th. That would be my possible buy point. But you see a nice inside candle, very little volume today, some sideways movement. Only 7% off the highs here after a 260% move. Not many people are trying to sell this name, even though it extended so quickly. So a thinner trading name, but definitely one to watch out for. It's ARVN. Next, we have CHWY, CHWY. So you can see nice strong breakout. Let's measure. I don't think it's a high type flag. Let's see. Oh, maybe 96% up. 21, yeah. So high type flag as well. So that's 90% up in 8 weeks or less, and then a pullback of 25% or less from the highs. So you can see only 21% down from the peak to this lower candle here. We saw a big buying volume, kind of volume bounce back on this up day yesterday. And then today we had higher highs, higher lows. Looked like it was going to go over that. Or I guess it did break over the previous day's high, but then squatted a little bit. This 6, yeah, but not too much coming down here. Still closed right near the high, so in the upper half of the previous candle. Something to watch for. This might not be one that goes tomorrow. Maybe it's one that sets up for Monday if we can get another kind of sideways downward action and then use the high from today as a possible breakout. But that's what I have alerts set for, 96.21, the high for today. If we can open lower and then take that out, that would be buyable. Otherwise, I would love to see just a couple more days of sideways action. But you have the 20-day right there, the 8-day closing just above it. If you buy with a break over the previous day's high, set your stop at the previous day's low, about 5.8%. That's within that 7% risk that I always shoot for at maximum. If you can get a tighter stop, the better, but 7% is kind of my limit there. That's CHWY. Next, we have CMRX. So zooming out, this has kind of a breakout here, measure it 180%, and went through a pretty large pullback setup and then broke out again. So now what I'm noticing is a lot of volume on the breakouts. All the largest volume days are up days. So green candle, green candle, green candle. You love to see that. That shows accumulation, not distribution. Excuse me. I don't think this was a high type flag. I think it was just short. Nope, 116% up and down 16%. So high tide flag as well. Maybe it's not perfect. I'm not measuring exactly 8 weeks out, but for the most part, you get the point. So pull back here, undercut the 20-day simple moving average. Ideally, it sits above that and then sets up to go. But now that we've had a kind of higher high on the day and then a pullback, if we could break over the high from Monday of 504, that would be buyable, and that would put us over the 20-day simple moving average as well. One kind of strike against the chart is the last couple days had larger volume on selling days. Now, part of this could be in the lower wick, kind of chasing this back up after it undercut the previous low. So you do like to see that, like this wick take out the previous low, because anyone who put their stops on that low got stopped out there. So it's a new group of traders coming in. But there is also a little bit more volume up top here in this kind of first pullback and bounce. So any breakout has to make its way through there, which you could see some selling pressure. So something to watch for. If we break out through there and then pull back, maybe it sets up and you get kind of an inverse head and shoulders through here that you could watch for. But I have my alert set at 504. Well, I have my alert set at 499, but would look to buy at 504 if it goes over that. But CMRX. Let's see here. CRNC. This is one that I've traded before. Yeah, you can see traded before into this breakout, sold the rest basically one day too early. Not bad there. And then now it's very light volume. You see on the breakouts, heavy volume on the up days, low volume on the pullback, sitting right at that 8-day. And then, like I said earlier, I really like long lower wicks because that shows quick selling to test some support levels and then caught some buyers, even today, caught some buyers. So now we had an inside day with a little bit lighter volume, still closed in the upper half of the previous candle, so looking relatively strong and above the 8-day exponential moving average. This is more of just a pullback buy in a strong uptrend that you could get into. Break over yesterday's high, 106.51 would be your buy point. So not a strong base breakout, but this is one that's already on the move. Has pulled back to the 20-day, tested that, found support there. So a kind of a buy in the trend that you can get. That's CRNC. Next we have CrowdStrike, CRWD. I should have measured this before. 92% up, 14% down, so also a high type flag. Those are my favorite types of setups, most powerful. One thing to notice, again, volume on the last couple extensions, and this is a good thing to point out for taking profits in an uptrend. Once you get a couple days of gapping up and volume really picking up, that usually signals the end of like the first run through, the first breakout. So if you could sell into strength on very high volume candles that have gapped up a couple days, that's the ideal time to sell, because typically that's showing just more of the public interest getting into a stock and not people that have waited their time for that perfect breakout point that we look for. So now it needs some time to pull back. Went to the 8-day, found some support there, but shot underneath that, undercut the previous low there. So you like to see that, stopping people out. And now the volume's kind of back and forth on this. It could need a little bit more time to trade sideways or even down a little bit, to let the 20-day simple moving average catch up, because you'd like to see the volume switched on this, right? Up volume higher on the, up volume higher than the down volume. But you do have a pretty defined point with these two daily highs. So this one 214.25, the other one 214.69. So today's high 214.69. If we open lower and then take that out, that would be buyable in an uptrend. So that's crowd. Let me do one more and then I'll kind of scan the comments to see if you guys had any questions on those. This one definitely a high tight flag all the way up. This is another one that it's basically a perfect bull flag, and typically with those I like to see one day where it pulls down, shakes out everyone who thinks, oh, this is the perfect setup, it's going to work perfectly. Because if everyone's looking at something, kind of like the Palantir setup that we'll get to in a little bit, if everyone's looking for the same thing, typically the market gives you the opposite. So at least at first. So with this one, if we can undercut some of these previous lows here and then rally up, that would set up the trade perfectly. So a lot of the times, and in this instance as well, I have alerts set both below and above some prices that I'm looking at. But good volume on some up days through here. And then the last couple days, a little bit higher, but still kind of forming out that bull flag. So it's not like a bunch of people are selling, just kind of sideways action through here. So that's EPIX. All right. All right, yeah, I'll get to all of your stocks at the end of the watch list. Next, we have Fiverr, FVRR. Try to trade in here, got stopped out, took some profit on the way up, got stopped out on this large red candle when it cut through my my entry point there. Rallied up a little bit, pulled back, and setting to go. Again, this one is one where the volume isn't showing exactly what you'd like to see, so that's one strike against the chart. Not every chart is going to be perfect, but we do kind of try and count the strikes against it and then take the best quality stocks because we have thousands to choose from, so might as well be picky. But I do like yesterday's full green candle and then today's inside candle on lower volume, still closing in the upper half, above the 8-day exponential, above the 20-day simple. And then now this gives you a really nice buy point with just the two previous days highs, 215.18, 215.46. So 215.46 could be your buy point. But what I would want to see is if we go through that pivot point, that buy point, notice the volume on the first couple candles that break through that area, because you want everyone looking at this, waiting for that time, and you want to get in right as they're getting in. If you get in and you're just kind of waiting around for everyone else to buy the stock up and it's not getting bought up, you're more likely to get stopped out, and that kind of be just a head fake before this pulls back and sets up again later. So just like we're looking at in the chart, we want big volume on the way out, little volume on the way back. So that's FVRR fiver. Next is MDXG. Almost took this trade today, but didn't end up doing that. Not quite a high type flag, 87% up, 16% down, but you could see what I'm looking at, kind of this bull flag through here. What I was thinking about today of taking the trade is if we can get over these two daily highs, 937, 937, exactly the same price. We did that 943, but I was trying to take some exposure down because, again, I was getting too far away from my account balance high to be that aggressive. But this one, tons of volume on this up, nothing on the sideways action. If we can open lower and then take out the day's high, 943, that's buyable. But you know me, if we can get a day where we undercut some of these previous lows, because everyone's looking at this, everyone's seeing the flag, right? If we can undercut those lows and then take off, that would be golden. So set your alerts both above and below, but if we can open just slightly lower and take out 943, that's your buy point. That's my buy point. Not stock advice, just what I'm looking at. Next we have OZON. This is an IPO. I'm still trying to get more familiar with IPOs, so maybe not exactly the one to look for, but let's see, what did we pull back? Pull back 20% from the highs, and now it's kind of creating that short-term IPO base here. Looks like we had higher highs on this candle on the 5th, and then an inside day today above both the 20 and the 8-day exponential moving average. Low volume on the inside day. That's what you like to see. And then with IPOs, it's basically the same type of rules, but you have to act faster. So instead of using the daily candles, maybe you zoom in to the 10. Well, use the 10-day view and then mess around with 15-minute candles, 30-minute candles to try and find some support and resistance. But saw this kind of carving out its IPO base here, and definitely want to watch 45.86 to see if we can break through that. That's OZON. Next we have Palantir, PLTR. This is one that I traded with a break over the high from the 17th. Took some into profit pretty quick and then got stopped out when we undercut the lows here. So let me draw this. So you see this flag, everyone saw this flag. It was up, what, 200 something, 240%. So tons of public interest. Everyone's talking about this. And then it tightens up. So everyone's thinking, okay, here comes the breakout, including me. I bought the breakout, got some off. But then because everyone's looking for that, the market gave us the opposite. And we undercut all these lows. So let me get these lines out of here now. So we undercut the lows in this range. And now this can start setting up again because everyone's kind of moved on to something else because there's plenty of other setups to look at. So what I'm watching for is I won't be buying this first kind of bounce because look at all this volume. A lot of people probably trapped in here not using stops, different types of durations of traders, different styles. But I want to see one breakout through here, see if it can work through this mess. Maybe it pulls back and then sets up like a lower pivot point there. But I don't want to miss a move that breaks over the highs from here, so 29.40 or so. But I do want to see when we start breaking out into this volume shelf, I want to see the move on high volume. So that's kind of why I'm alerting it today and not late. I'll do it later on too if it sets up, but wanted to kind of bring this to your attention. Maybe need a week or so. But if it gets going into this volume shelf and just cuts it right through it, that would be very bullish. Next, we have Peloton. And I'm not one for a pure pullback buyer, but this is one where very strong move up 73%. And this is pullback. Look at the volume. Tons of volume on the way up. And then, as you see, some gap up days, high volume, marking a short-term top. Then pull back, no volume on the pullback. Very, very light volume. Not many people trying to get out. And it has pulled back, what is it, 16%. Now it's sitting right by the 20-day simple moving average. If we could see a test of that tomorrow, maybe even like undercut it and then take out the high, that would be buyable. Or if we just break out and move higher, I want to see a close, or I want to see the stock set to close over the 8-day exponential moving average before I buy if we don't get the undercut of today's low. I hope that makes sense. I want to either see us take out the final couple stops, take out the 20-day simple moving average, see if buyers step in at the 20-day and then move it over the high. That's the first buy point that I'm looking at. Or if we just break out through here, the previous day's high, 149.78, call it 150. If we can get through there and more towards the end of the day where we're going to close over the 8-day exponential, that would be the other place that I'm watching. It's Peloton, RCKT. This is one that I put on yesterday. Looked like it was getting out. Pretty good volume. Not a ton of volume. Not as much as I was hoping for. And then I had put a tighter stop on this because again I was still not at my account balance high, so I've got to play a little bit more defensively until I get there. But you kind of see the pattern through here. I don't need to draw it. I bought with a break over 58.58 right here. Maybe could have even bought lower into that, but I probably should have actually. Did we undercut the low? Yeah, should have bought right off the high of these 2 days. What was that? 57.16, 57.31. Because we undercut the previous day's low, that would have been a fair buy point. But then today we opened, pulled back, hit my stop, and probably an aggressive stop. But again, I have to, if I'm going to be aggressive putting positions on while I'm off my account balance highs, I got to be aggressive with my stops and my risk control. So got stopped out of this, but very, very light volume on the pullback, hit support at the 20-day, rallied back up. This could easily break out again. So I'm looking for either an undercut of the low and then a takeout of the day's high of 59. Or if this finds a ton of buying volume and we break out over 61.77, that's buyable too. But really strong on the way up, 113% in just a couple trading days and 24% on the way down. And then some sideways action to allow the 20-day simple moving average to catch up. That's RCKT. Let me go through. I have both Redfin and Zillow on here, so we'll run through both of those at the same time. Redfin, 122% up, pullback of 22%, so high tight flag. Has now tested the 20-day simple moving average and undercut that, closed below. So didn't find as many buyers as I expected there or was hoping for. And then now you see 2 days where the high of the day hit that 8-day exponential moving average. And that was the sell point for anyone just playing quick bounces off that. Today was an inside day with lower volume than the previous up day, which is constructive. If we can get a break over yesterday's high of 70.74, that would be buyable. But if we're going to do that, you do have this little volume shelf here, about 13% up, that you could run into some selling issues there. So if you take the trade this low into maybe a reversal, I'll probably be quicker to take a larger portion of my profit off than I would with a high type flag that's kind of set up ideally, where this moved more sideways instead of or sideways until it hit the 20-day instead of undercutting that 20. But you could still profit what 10%, 12%, take some risk off, move your stop to your entry, and then let the rest of the trade go. So that's Zillow. Similar look, or that was Redfin. Similar, not as strong look as Zillow, or Redfin was strong. You get what I'm saying. Redfin's stronger than Zillow. This one was only 37% up. This was on our breakout watch list through this zone through here. That was beautiful. Didn't take it, but can't take every trade. Pulled back to the 20-day. This one is holding the 20-day much better. So kind of one strike against Redfin was it undercut that, didn't find buyers there. So people trading that stock don't have that same system. Maybe people with Zillow are watching the 20-day and holding that a little bit better. Similar, basically an inside day, technically higher high, higher low, but close enough. Lower volume on the day. Break over today's high of 137.42 is the possible buy point there. All right, let's go ROKU. This one's just been a monster, man. You see some of these flags, and it makes sense that I got stopped out and took the trade off there because, I mean, that would have been a pretty big loss. And then you see the rest, and it's like, why'd you do that? But you got to have trading rules. So this one, 81% up, 13% back. So not a very large pullback yet. And look at the volume on the way up. Good, good, good. Those are funds buying, funds buying, funds buying. And then some people taking some trade off. That's a decent selling volume, but nothing too terrible. Monday, all the growth stocks kind of pulled back. Had an inside day yesterday, and then higher highs, higher lows today with the close over Monday's open, which is constructive on a little bit higher volume than Monday's as well. So I guess that was technically a pocket pivot too. So what I'm looking for is if we can, it's tough. If we can have a couple days of sideways down movement to tighten up the range, because right here you see average true range coming up. You'd rather see all the bars get smaller and smaller, and that means everyone's agreeing on the price. And then when a big buyer comes in, there's more illiquidity because everyone's been agreeing on the price that it can shoot it up quicker. Those big daily bars shows that there's a lot of people disagreeing on this price. So even if a big buyer steps in, it's probably hitting a lot of people that are willing to sell. So a little bit of caution with this move, but taking a look at 347.95, the high of today, it's possible buy point. But if we get some, maybe this would have been better for next week. But quality setup, one to watch. Let's give it some time. Next we got SAIL, SAIL. Similar looking chart. Broke out, let's see, I think it was only 40%, 45%, 45% up, 46% went up, 14% back, not bad. Very, very light volume on the pullback. Good volume on the up day, so inside day, higher highs, higher lows today. What I would be looking for is just a break over today's high, which would also be 54.88, 54.86, which would also be a high of December 29th. So open lower, take that out. That's your possible buy point on that. Let's see, how many more do I got? Sale. Let me rush through some of these. Snapchat, tried to take the trade today. That was one that once all the news started coming out, I was trying to get my exposure down because, again, don't have the profit to be too aggressive. And found, looking back at it, hit the 20-day simple moving average, could not break over that. So now, being on the outside, if we can break it over today's high, 51.08, that would be over the 20-day simple moving average, clear that area, that would be buyable in my opinion. So looking at that area again, but I just had to take it off because that one wasn't being profitable. A couple of my names that I just put on were coming back, and I didn't want to just put on four different losing positions. Next, we have TGTX. This is another one that I put on, started working against me, wanted to just take off some risk. But this one still looks really strong. This is one that you guys could vote on for the TikTok challenge. So it is above where I bought it on Monday with that account, so still looking good. Thought this was really going to take off today, but you do have 115% move up, pullback of what, 12%, not bad. Now today's high 53.84 marks the possible buy point. If we could break through that, good volume the last couple days, couple green days here. Let's see if we can get over that and really take off. But lots of power behind this move. No one's trying to sell in here, and it held up relatively well today. So that's TGTX. Two more for you guys, and then we'll get to the charts you guys want to see. STRO. Strong breakout through here, checked back, rallied, and then gapped down on higher volume. So that's one strike against the chart. Now kind of moving sideways down, which you like the sideways down action. Had a day that undercut all the lows except for some of these guys. You can see right through there. I drew that terribly, but you get the point. That's terrible. Undercutting the previous lows, knocking those stops out, and then rallying yesterday, high volume to recapture the 8-day, sitting right on the 20-day. Then today, higher highs, higher lows. Break over yesterday's high could have been viable, but now we have the high from the 28th, that's 22.93, and the high from the today, just 23 flat. I'd be looking for a break over 23 as a possible buy point there. And finally, XPEL, third stock that I put on today. Really strong uptrend. This is 119% up, 15% back, and then also had those long lower wicks that I like to see. So stopping everyone out, stopping people out, stopping people out. And then both these two times found some buyers right on the 20-day. Inside day, yesterday, couple daily highs right at the same price. So I put the trade on as we broke over the previous day's high, 52.47. And then kind of worked against me. Just took it off. Wasn't trying to be aggressive until I had the profit to do so, but held up relatively well. Only down 0.25% today. Lower volume on the move. So if we do break over the high, that's buyable. But you want to see some volume come with that move. Really light trading name as well, so you can't get a ton of size on it. All right, I feel like I talked forever. Let's see what you guys want to check out. And don't let me forget to go over the stocks that I told people on StockTwits that I would look at. IPOC. Oh, this is the SPAC. Yeah, so I don't trade these guys, SPACs, whatever. Doesn't really work with the technical analysis that I've found, so I don't want to give you guys any bad information on that. So for Neo, we'll jump to that next. You can see try to buy here, got stopped out, bought with a break over the high from the 30th. That worked immediately the next year, the next week when we started. Took some off into strength today, and then when we undercut everything, this must have just hit my stop by 1% or so. But with the Chinese names getting delisted, we got to have a little bit more risk controls with that. So I had my stop and my entry, didn't lose any money on the trade, but still found some support at the 8-day. This isn't one of the ones that is getting delisted. It's just now that three names, at least right now, are in the process of being delisted, there is some risk with Chinese names. So a little bit higher volume on the selling than you would like to see. And this is a bearish engulfing candle. So the highs and the lows are above the highs and the lows of the previous day. Usually a bearish signal, but still closed above the 8-day exponential. Could firm up and then go again. But I was trying to keep my risk low. Let's see. UVXY. Is this? Yeah, I don't trade these guys. Very strong downtrend. I don't know. I think this is just, is this a short vehicle for some downside risk? I don't have any short positions on right now. I'm just letting some winners run and trying to protect my entry. MTA, really strong move through here. This, I was looking at this. This could have been buyable, but this large red candle kind of scared me away. Was not sure what was up with the sellers there. But really strong through here. Probably not a position to buy. You're what, 14% extended from the 20-day simple moving average, right around the breakout point. You're likely to be stopped out if with some random fluctuation and decent risk controls. So not trying to put a position on here, but if it can trade sideways and down, maybe test this volume support right near the previous breakout, that'd be a good place to find a pullback buy. All right, CCJ. If you guys are enjoying yourself, please leave a like on the video. That helps me out tremendously. And subscribe to the channel. Let's see. Really beautiful breakout here. Man, CCJ did not see this. 200-day, now in an uptrend, 50, 28, all in the right order. That's great. Let's measure these pullbacks. 13%, 6%. So tighter pullbacks. Volume coming in on the buy here. Not sure what that's kind of weird to see. Big volume on, I guess, technically a bearish engulfing candle, but buyer stepped in yesterday, and then exactly what you want to see the next day. Well, not exactly. You'd love to just see this take off, right? But higher highs, higher lows, closed right at the high of the day, or right at the previous day's high. This still looks good. Maybe you take some profit off. Let's see. What kind of move is this? 8%? Might be a little early to take profits. Yeah, I mean, depends on your strategy. Maybe you take a little bit of profit there, move your half your stop up. Whenever I'm trading defensively, I try and at least move half my stop up to my entry point if I get over about 8% on a trade. Just trying to keep my initial capital healthy, because for whatever reason, if I'm down over 5% off my account balance high, things aren't working out perfectly. So want to be a little bit more cautious with that. UEC, yeah, kind of strong uptrend through here. If you're already in it, great. Maybe the all-time high here is buyable. There's 202. I don't know. I don't trade these very, very cheap names through here. So $2. I try to focus on things over $5, but I do like the pattern. But either this has to move sideways down, let the 20-day catch up, and then go at a lower pivot point, or you're just looking at a high of 202 as a possible buy point. Let's see. BBY. Nice. Yeah, people were pointing this out earlier. Best Buy, good move here, up 4%. I don't know. I don't trade anything under its 50-day simple moving average because typically there's a lot of overhead resistance. So any breakouts, once it gets going, will get sold off. The 50 days are just below this volume shelf here, so maybe it can run up till that. That's another 4% before seeing some selling pressure. Doesn't mean it has to happen, but there's no absolutes in trading, so we're just trying to align as much risk on our side as possible before taking the trades. And being under the 50-day simple moving average does not help the cause. But it's just my take. Could still work. It's BBY. Let's see, what else? EPD. Zoom out. Yeah, so similar kind of thing. Don't like the overhead here. One thing I look for is the 200-day moving average to be in an uptrend for over a month. 3 months would be ideal, but this kind of move, there's a reason why it's been beaten down so much, and I'm always trying to focus on the strongest stocks getting stronger, not weak stocks bouncing higher, because again, you get that that resistance. So the least resistance that you can get, stock breaking into all-time highs, the better. Let's see, TGTX. Yeah, I just talked about that one. That one looks good. FRHC. Man, it's pretty light volume trading. 240% since June. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what this guy does. I like the long lower wick to shake out a bunch of traders, kind of close this gap a little bit. 13%. Yeah, I'd like to see this actually flush maybe even below that and set up a little bit more. This has been on such a run where it's only tested the 20-day one, maybe twice. Even that didn't even get to the 20 days. So I'm going to give this more time to actually set up. Feels like a little bit greedy getting in this quickly. Yeah, some of these volume bars are a touch scary as well on the pullback here. Made up for it, broke out, but one strike against it. We'll give this some time. I mean, it's obviously very strong, but we're trying to get as tight of charts as possible so you can get your risk reward very tight. So maybe you buy the break over the high, put the stop at the low or the previous day's low, and that's, I mean, 4%. It's getting up there, but not bad. Let's see, do I have an affiliate link? No, you guys can support the channel. I don't sell anything. You guys can support the channel by leaving likes and subscribing and sharing to anyone that you think would enjoy it. But if anyone's ever trying to say, or anyone's trying to sell you something in my name, I'm not. It's not me. Don't buy it. I'm not selling anything. Man, LAC really took off. Wow. So I mean, this is now starting to form maybe a high tide flag, but got to give it some time to cool down, to tighten up for another breakout. You're not buying a stock this far extended. Let's see. Yeah, definitely will need some time to set up before you take a new entry. But if you're already in it, man, maybe, I don't know. This is a pretty high upper wick with a volume spike. Maybe a reason to take some profit, but still looks really strong. You don't want to take the entire thing for profit here. You're on a roll. All right, let's see. Twilio. Yeah, kind of in sell-off mode. Not bad selling volume, but relatively consistent. Things getting quiet. You do like to see things get quiet towards the end of the pullback. So maybe this is marking the end. It's just kind of random between the 50 to 20. Probably want to see a break under these lows because now you have 2 days lows. Now people will put their stops under that, shake that out, and then set up and go. But I don't know. I want to see more of like at least one rally, get over the 8-day, and then make a pivot there. Let's see, you. Yeah, it's starting to be in sell off mode. You can see the large selling volumes here. What are we off the highs now? 21% off the highs. Definitely needs some time to find some buyers for those guys to step in and create a pivot. This is just lower lows, lower highs, lower highs, lower lows, lower lows, lower highs in a downtrend here. And if you do rally up, you do have this volume shelf here to get through around the 20-day simple moving average that people might sell into. We'll give it some time. Fubo. Man, Fubo is going to haunt me. It was one that I bought the breakout, got shook out on, and then I did have a plenty of other positions really take off this week. I had a great return, but definitely missed it. What a chart to study for next time. You can't be too mad at yourself, but Pulled back to that 20-day simple moving average, had an inside day, noticed the lightest volume. This was a high tight flag before the breakout, and then just, oh man, sucks looking at this one, but that's good because I'm going to remember something like this because I missed out on it. 125% up, but here you get the gap up, kind of a mini gap here, gap up, volume picking up. So you want to sell into the strength on either the second gap up day or wherever the volume starts to spike. At least take some profit off because then, yeah, the next day starts the downtrend. Looks like it's finding some support at the 50-day simple moving average, but let's see, what is it? Man, pulled down 63% from the highs. That's rough. Ugh. Usually I don't trade stocks that have pulled back over 50%. So this is going to have to rally and then maybe rally, pull back, kind of set up, and then that's terrible. And then break out. I'm not going to just be buying off the 50-day. Some people do. There's plenty of strategies that work well, just buying off moving averages and taking profits quicker. But this has a lot of people trapped up here that when you do rally, they're going to be happy to be able to get out at break even. So you might see some selling pressure if it does get off the 50-day here. Kicking myself. All right. Let's see. OPEN. Kind of looking like a cup and handle. I don't know. Pretty early. Long lower wick, so that's squatted today. It's up after hours. That looks legit. Volume picking up. Yeah, so if we could get a couple days sideways action, then the high today becomes viable, 28.50. This is a good rally off the 50-day though. Volume was up throughout. That's good to see. This long wick here, that's good to see. Buyers stepped in there, then pulled back, waited the 50-day. Right now it's in the meat of this volume shell, so yeah, kind of breaking over the high today. At least you're towards the end of the upper resistance. ARGO. Yeah, 200-day just starting to get an uptrend. This is a laggard stock. Always trying to look for leaders. So that's the canceling method. Always looking for leaders, not laggards, and not looking good with that one. Let's see, STIC. Man, a little bit too early for me to tell on this, but good volume on the way up. Good constructive volume, lower volume on the way down. So, yeah, not my specialty. Definitely trying to learn IPOs a little bit more, but showing the right signs the first couple days. Oh, it's a SPAC. Never mind. Erase what I just said. I don't know if that technical analysis works with these guys very well. Let's see. Run. Great volume. Great close today. I think this is this over like a long period of time? Was there? No. Okay. Thinking of a different stock. But yeah, just gapped up today. And you can't do anything with that. Are you really buying a gap up all the way through there and then hoping it goes higher? I don't know. Maybe that fits your strategy. That's pretty bold. I think you're more likely to get stopped out. Maybe not on this one specific trade, but you're not making all the money in your lifetime on one specific trade. So you have to have rules for buying, for selling, for gap days. And I don't personally buy anything that's gapped up over my buy point. I'll let it run, set up later. There's going to be 100 next stocks to trade, but man, this looks really strong. Definitely want to watch this if it kind of peels back to the 8-day exponential moving average on light volume. That would be an ideal pullback buy. Really strong. GEVO. That's looking good. Right through there. 2 daily highs. 485, 485. Right there. Low volume on the pullback on this flag here. I will take a look at this. Let's set an alert for 480. Call 475. Yeah, one of my 2021 resolutions was to use alerts for anything that I plan to trade on. So I do get a lot of alerts the first half hour of the day, but then at least I go in with a plan. Like I'm not checking a stock that someone says to check out that day and then trying to build a plan around that. I'll either tonight or in the morning set alerts for all the stocks on this watch list, anything that I think is looking good to set up, and then when the trade sets up and comes in, then I can actually execute the order. Yeah, STRO did pass the buy point. Now we have to adjust. So much people. It's time we hooked you up. Pay attention to MRMD. All right, let's check it out. So lots of volume in the selling. It's up big after hours. I don't know what's going on. Bid ask is weird. E-Trade's been kind of funky lately. Not a fan. Uh, yeah, I'm not going to trade this stock, but I appreciate the love. If you find stocks over $5 with this type of setup, definitely send them my way. IIPR. Yeah, this looks pretty good. Lots. Only concern here is the selling volume. Pretty high on a lot of these days. ATR is just kind of working its way up too, so the bars are getting wider and wider. We need more price acceptance, not disagreeing. So even when a big buyer comes in or institution comes in to buy, because everyone's been agreeing on the price, there's that illiquidity to it, and that'll drive it up higher. With bars this wide, even when institutions come in, it probably won't move it as much. But you do have kind of a pivot point through here. That could work. Sitting on the 20-day simple moving average, but I don't know. Volume's a strike against it. ATR is a strike against it. But you do like 32% move up, pull back, to the 20-day. That's good. LSPD, yeah, this is one. I just have my stop and my entry. So this was one of those ones that undercuts all the lows, recaptures the high. That's when I bought it on this candle. Immediately started working the next day, and then you can see I took some into strength there, rallied up, and now we've had 2 days with long lower wicks. So buyers are stepping in, but they're letting it get sold off before stepping in. So I'm hoping today was the last kind of sell-off buy. It almost took out my stop. Let's see, what was my entry? 60.49, 61.40. So we were within $1 on 60, so 1.6%, whatever, from my stop. I don't know. Hopefully we get some buyers stepping in, but kind of a weird looking chart. I wouldn't be looking to add to this. I'm just gonna let the rest run. But yeah, not sure what's going on here. Let's see. Yeah, Riot's Riot's been on fire. I'm not buying into an extension like that. But if you look earlier, it was a great VCP setup, volatility contraction pattern with accumulation. Like all the up days were big green days. Then you had a pullback, a little aggressive 48%. Then second one, 27, third one, 19. And then like this kind of inside day here. You can't even see it without me. But you had this inside day here, and that set up the buy point. That would have been a monster move. But I don't know. I'm not buying stocks this far extended, but looks to stay strong. Let's see, NIU. Interesting. Yeah, this was one. I was watching this one for the break over these two highs, and it did, and then it squatted that day, and we haven't broken over that. So that long upper wick's kind of what's holding me back. And then we see a couple more later on. So that's showing everything that bounces up gets sold off into. So until we get over some of these upper wicks, I want to stay away from it just because everything that gets going is getting sold off. So let's see. Yeah, skills working well. I took the trade yesterday as we broke over the previous day's high. This is an IPO high type flag that was on the breakout watch list. ARK came and bought it, shot it up. I took some off after hours yesterday at like 2370. It was up like 7% after hours, so I took 20% of my position off, stops at my entry, risk-free trade on the rest. But this looked great. Had an awesome shakeout on Thursday, the last day of the year. Lower volume on the kind of pull down day, and then ARK bought it, and kind of the rest is going. So hopefully this just keeps continuing higher, and I don't have to worry about anything. But um, maybe tough to buy unless you're just zooming into the 5-minute charts or whatever to find a pivot point there. I don't think I skipped. No, I didn't skip Best Buy. This is under the 50-day simple moving average. You're going to find some resistance up here with the volume shelf, so and the 50-day. So if this keeps railing, you could see some selling pressure there. Not sure if it'll happen, but that's what I'm seeing. Tesla's already very, very extended. It's showing great strength, but I'm not putting on a new position this far extended. Red candle outside of the upper Bollinger Band typically will call for a pullback to set the trade up again. But I mean, look at this relative strength. ATR is decreasing, so even though it's going up, everyone is agreeing on the price. There's not much disagreement day in and day out. So I'm not betting against it, that's for sure, but don't want to be buying red candles outside of upper Bollinger Bands. Those are usually pullback signs. Let's go two more. And I have to get to the other two. PEIX. Yeah, this is one that I traded on the way up. I traded it here too. I don't know why those flags aren't showing. But now got under its 50-day, rallied to the 50-day, sold off, rallied to the 50-day, sold off, rallied to the 50, sold off. So that 50-day has been a monster for this stock. Can't close above that. But we're starting to see volume show the right type of pattern. So larger bars on up days, smaller bars on down days. So maybe just by a matter of time, we're going to get over this 50-day simple moving average shortly. And maybe we could take out, what is this, 687? Yeah, I know there's a lot of eyes on this because it was such a monster earlier on in the year. But I don't know. I don't like to trade stocks 50% down off its highs because you're going to see some resistance each time, and that's what you've seen so far. Let's go FORM. Yeah, this is beautiful. This is what you're looking for. Let's see, what kind of move is this? 93 whatever percent up, 10% back, so really tight action. Ideally, you see volume lighten up like even more towards the end of the flag. Then everyone's forgotten about this, everyone's agreed on the price, and then a buyer steps in and shoots it higher. But it looks like there's some action going on here lately. But a break over today's high or even on Monday's high, 44.59, that would be the two areas that I'm looking for. This one looked like it was breaking out, then kind of malfunctioned. So I'd probably actually focus on 44.59 to take a look at that if it breaks out through there. But very clean chart through here. A little bit lighter trading volume, but not bad. All right, what stocks did I say I was going to cover? LI. Oh, let me jump to, yeah. LI, this is looking kind of like an inverse head and shoulders. So if we get a couple more days down and sideways, testing that 50-day simple moving average, and then break over the high from today, 33, or is it 33.50? That would be buyable. Like the kind of change in volume, this was all heavy volume selling. Now we got a big buying volume on Monday, and this has held good relative strength through there. So if we have an inside day, kind of tighten up the range, have ATR come down instead of kind of going up, that sets up an inverse head and shoulders, and then that could go. But definitely one that you want to take a look at. Resi, this is one that I traded today. Missed the really low pivot here, which I called out, but I was too busy other trades early on in the morning. That would have been viable. Good, nice undercut of all the previous lows through here. This was a high tight flag that broke out and then checked back to the 8-day. So a nice pullback buy opportunity. Tried to get it, should have gotten it lower, didn't. And then I just bought with a break over the high through here. And then when things started kind of working against me, I took it off for about even, maybe 1% down. But I think it's still, if it opens lower than the high and then just takes out the high is buyable. 23.35. SPWR, this one, you can't plan for this. It never really gave you a buy signal with this long lower candle here. Lots of selling volume. One update was sold off into, so even though this is green, maybe some of that volume is in selling here, then more selling volume. And then today was just Georgia runoff news that shot it up, but really powerful. Lots of buying volume coming in, and then did squat a little bit later, but I mean, if this can set up and then take out the highs like a cup and handle, then the highs are buyable through here. Otherwise, I don't know, maybe one that you just got to watch. But this would have been super tricky to buy. Someone on StockTwits was like, I can't believe I missed this one. I was like, what do you mean you can't believe you missed it? It was, unless you're buying like the check back and then railing up, and even that was only a couple percent to do. It would have been a really, really tough buy. So I don't think it's bad that you missed it, but yeah, maybe need some time to set up. ICLN, Global Clean Energy. Clean Energy's been on fire lately. Today's no different. Huge up count, up volume. Closed at the high of the day. It's up a ton after hours too. So all good things for this, but I don't know. I'm not buying into an extension like this. More likely, because if you buy into here and you put a stop at 5%, even with normal fluctuation in the price, you're likely to get stopped out. Let's wrap it up at TAN. TAN, same thing. Yeah, gapped up. I don't know. I'm not buying gap ups. Found some selling pressure later in the day, obviously, but yeah, if this can set up like it kind of did here, this would have been a buy spot if we just opened normal and then took out that price. That would have been great. That would have been ideal, but we didn't get that. So we can only trade what the market gives us. Put an alert for the previous high. Yeah, that could work if we just kind of come through all-time highs right around that area. That could work. All right, that is going to be the midweek movers live stream. So if you enjoyed yourself, please leave a like. Share this with your friends, anyone trading. If you haven't signed up for the TikTok challenge, all you have to do to sign up is go to my TikTok video that is posted in the link here, or if you just go to my channel, it's the first video on the channel, and just comment either your Twitter or your TikTok screen name. And then if that TikTok account beats my own trading account by the end of the year on a weekly compounding basis, I'm giving the entire fund away, $599 a piece, to as many people as the fund can grow to. So if you're interested in that, make sure you sign up and follow me on StockTwits, Twitter, and TikTok. Have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you on Friday for the trading recap.